I've had personal experience. I'm going to start the intro again if that's okay. Sorry, we're live on Facebook. So we are introducing the amazing Monica Polemikos from HypnoLab. Monica is going to be talking to us about reducing anxiety. Monica is a qualified hypnotherapist and psychotherapist with almost 20 years experience. I can personally vouch for her services. She was 5 when she started. Isn't she amazing? So she has assisted me and many thousands of clients through anxiety, and I'm going to pass it over to Monica now.
Thank you for the warm introduction. So like Debbie was saying, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and psychotherapist, and I do specialise in anxiety. Not by choice, but that's just, that's one of the things that is on the rise and that the majority of my clients come to see me for. So between 10 to 15% of the population do experience some sort of anxiety, whether it's historical or situational. It is something that does come up, and the implications for that is that it does prevent some people from engaging with other people, from going out, from experiencing, wonderful things in our world. And so, I'm on a mission to help people with anxiety to reduce some of those feelings that they're feeling, so that they can live a better life, so they can live more of an enjoyable life. So, why I wanted to talk about anxiety tonight, I wanted to talk about it in terms of the workplace and also as business owners, okay? And that's because, we're all gathered here for this networking event, and there are so many people that will register for an event like this and then will go, oh, no, I don't think so. We'll hear or we won't hear what Scott said before, their stories, about, no, I don't think it's the right night, or I haven't washed my hair, or, whatever excuse, it's just not good timing, So they'll tend to get into story. And I think, as business owners, we need to feel like we've got our stuff together, that we're putting on a great face and that, yep, I'm all okay, everything's good, I'm not feeling anxiety, but really, it's like, I have to say something, and so, I think one of the approaches is having it all on the table, That's one thing that can really help alleviate the symptoms, instead of trying to keep everything, padded down in a box and contained. It's actually going, hey, hang on a second, well, you know what, I've got this piece of anxiety that I'm talking about, and guess what? I'm feeling a little bit anxious right now. I've got 10 people looking at me.
Are you?
10
I know this great person that does anxiety.
Are they a clinical hypnotherapist? And so having like your cards out on the table can help you engage with your clients and customers. Not only from your personal perspective, having that awareness of what your anxiety triggers are, what some of the symptoms are, what some of the the internal chatter that's going on, but also by doing this yourself and and gathering that information for yourself, what you'll find is that you'll be able to better pick up on those anxiety things, those symptoms and triggers in your clients as well. Because if you think about the people that come and see you, some of them will come for really happy things, maybe the honeymoon, so happy. But other times they might have to get their affairs in order, through divorce or through death, and so they are not necessarily going to be coming to you in a calm, rational state. They might have other things going on. And so your ability to be able to pick up on those symptoms is going to help you relate to that person even more, to gather the information that you need from that person in order to assist them properly. and to assist them, effectively. So I've put together a little worksheet for you, just to help you kind of, and I'll pass this along, to help you not only elicit your own strategy of anxiety. Maybe it's not anxiety, maybe it's nervousness. Yeah, maybe it's feeling the jitters, whatever name you choose to call it. And so in this little document, it goes through 4 different things, and this comes from cognitive behavioural therapy. It's not my strategy, but it shows that everything that you do is a story or a strategy. And everything as far as, brushing your teeth or putting on your shoes, you tend to do it the same way. And so doing anxiety, there's also a strategy for that as well. Yeah? So it could be that it's 7 o'clock. Oh, it's time to do that. I have to get up and speak. It's my time. Yeah, that could be a trigger. It could be getting up in the morning, you're putting up your shoes, and then suddenly I'm thinking about work. I'm thinking about those phone calls that I have to make. Yeah? Yeah, right? Or it could be a significant other that says, "Oh, have you done this yet?" And you're like, "No, I haven't." Right? So they're all potential triggers. And then we go through, and there's an internal interpretation about what that actually means to us. And it's that meaning that then we generate the emotion that's associated. Yeah? So for instance, I could be saying here tonight, geez, I'm really nervous about talking. Yeah, or I could just be working myself up. Or I could say, oh my goodness, this is just a fantastic opportunity. Thank you everyone for being here, for listening, for your attention. I feel so blessed and excited. Yeah? And yet the physiological response is exactly the same. It's exactly the same. The difference is how I've interpreted it. Yeah? So have a go at completing this for yourself, identifying what your triggers are. Yeah? Because I guarantee that you'll be better equipped to be able to know what the triggers are, with the people that you.
So we have to think of something that we're anxious about.
Yeah, or when you notice that you're anxious. Sometimes it's not the trigger that you first notice. Sometimes it's the feeling. Yeah. Sometimes it's the feeling, the butterflies, or needing to go to the bathroom, right? Or it could be.
Would you like us to do it now?
Your body's sucked in. Yeah, you could do this now.
Yeah, do you guys have a few minutes to do it sheet now? Do we need pens to... Has everyone got a pen? We can pass around a few. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes.
Absolutely.
If that's okay?
Yeah, because that way you're going to better understand
what that first is. One, let's say, how you know it's time to do it.
Yeah. How you know it's time to do it.
So if I'm anxious about insurance, would I put that in the first box?
So the trigger could be talking of call.
I'm anxious about if I've lodged my tax return.
Oh, come on, that was obvious, that one.
Many triggers.
You're going to have to pay more tax.
All right, why don't we... It's a great marketing way to incorporate the whole room with our anxiety. I'm anxious about my trip, I'm anxious about my marriage, my taxes, my insurance, anxious about anxiety, my marketing, lunch with the ex, building my sales funnel, my next photography session.
The splits?
The splits.
A holiday with the ex.
A holiday with the ex. I've done that before too, I've done that before.
There's a theme here.
We'll give you guys a minute.
Yeah, so if you're struggling to think of anything, just think of, perhaps the last time you felt a little bit uneasy about something.
Oh, yeah.
Saturday night.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Fantastic. First prize.
Another crunchy bag.
Another crunchy, exactly. Beautiful. Excellent.
You should have glasses of wine as like rewards.
Rewards for filling it in.
Yeah.
So has anyone, while you're filling that out, has anyone got any questions, anything specific that they want to know or ask?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this what does happen, or what should we respond with?
What does happen? So what is the behaviour? What is the outcome of the trigger, your thinking and your feeling as well? So so for some people that might be running and hiding. Running and hiding. Or it could be you're frozen as well. So you've heard of the fight flight response. There's also flop as well, where you're kind of like,
I haven't heard that one.
I haven't heard that one either.
yeah, where you flop. So you see in the animal kingdom, animals playing dead.
Yep.
They
Like
flop.
rag dolls.
Flop. Chickens do it too.
Do
It's
they?
like, yeah. So for their so their predator thinks that they're dead, and if they're dead, then they don't taste good.
Well, you can't eat them alive.
Yeah.
Have you seen the goats that get paralysed when they're scared and their legs go stiff? Just,
Yes.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
videos.
So that happens to us as well. And a common myth and misperception is that
Oh, yes.
if you get the shakes, that's anxiety.
Picked up from
But in fact, that's actually a symptom that the anxiety is actually gone. That the fear, the predatory trigger, that's actually gone, and that's your body releasing that fear, getting rid of the adrenaline, cortisol, all that. Bless you. All of those chemicals that have been built up in the body. So it's actually a sign of safety. It's actually a sign that you're on the way to recovery.
Like after the gunman's left, you go to the bathroom and then your hands can shake.
Processing it.
There you go, perfect.
Monica, can you offer us one practical tip so that we can walk away from tonight? I mean, we've all got so many tips, there's so much access to
Yeah.
information, but having someone like you in the room who specialises in this and sees this day in and day out, having just one takeaway, particularly when it's about anxiety and bringing it down to what Scott talks about specifics.
The biggest thing I see is that people calling it anxiety when it's not. So unfortunately, it's like anxiety has become in fashion. Oh, I don't like doing that. That gives me anxiety. So it's kind of like you're labeling yourself and giving yourself this label, which is in the medical medical diagnostic, when really you don't have those symptoms and you don't have that condition. So that's the biggest thing.
Is
That's the
actually
biggest thing.
recognising it.
Is over identifying with it.
Don't label it.
Don't label it. Say, oh, geez, that's I've got some butterflies in my tummy, or oh, my voice went a little bit, high then, or oh, geez, I've got I've got this big rash.
Is it
I've got sweaty palms.
Is it actually a condition, like according to medical?
According to the DSM-5, we're up to 5 now, there are a few different types of anxieties. So
What's
there's
DSM?
The Diagnostic Statistic Manual?
Yeah.
Yeah. So doctors and psychiatrists use to diagnose mental illness and addictions and disorders. So there is, various different kinds of anxiety. There's things like panic disorder. These people hyperventilating. Yeah. So very, very real. There's generalised anxiety, where people just feel anxious all the time, and they don't really know why. Sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. But it's something that just happens over and over again, that it just becomes like a habit, something that just happens.
I think as well, when you've got 4 or 5 things hanging around and it's not in your hands, because we went through this period 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You want an answer and you cannot get it, and you cannot do anything about it. When you've got 4 or 5 things hanging around, everything around you makes you anxious. Everything.
Yeah.
Just
so,
even.
so there's that situational anxiety. There's
That's crazy feeling. It's not like you're depressed or anything, no, because any phone call, it's going to be one of these phone calls. Oh my God! Just you hate anything around you. And
So some people experience it in terms of their cognition. So they think their mind's racing. There's too many things. I have to do too many things. Oh my goodness! And other people feel it more from the head down, in terms of in their body. So they might not even notice what they're thinking. They might just go, "Oh, geez, what's happening here?" I just
heavy.
And others will feel a combination of both.
Monica, let's give this some context if we may.
Yeah.
What is it about this generation, in this place at this time, that seems to have created this pandemic of anxiety when compare that to, for example, our parents' generation in a different era where this would be not even a talking point. It would not be topical. There would be no discussion. There seems to be something about being in this place at this time.
Good question. Really good question.
And whether it's around the age of entitlement, whether it's the age of expectation,
Technology as
whether
well.
it's technology.
You know what?
And drug companies.
We've got it really easy at the moment.
Okay.
Honestly, we've got it really easy. When you compare butterflies in the tummy to everybody dying around you from scarlet fever, there's some comparison, There's some weight to what's going on around us and what we're feeling inside. There's also, we're also at a stage where we're more open to discussing our feelings as well. Whereas previously, someone might not go, I'm just not going to share that. And you can't necessarily see by looking at someone whether they're experiencing anxiety or not. And then there's also what I mentioned before is that over-labelling. So I had a young lady who came into the clinic and she said, you know what, she goes, I feel so embarrassed and ashamed that I don't have a diagnosis. And I just went, wow. So people would rather have a diagnosis,
Label.
and a label
To belong.
to belong,
And to have hope of a solution
and also to justify the feeling that they're having, saying, see, it actually is real. It's to validate them. It's to
I'm
validate
okay,
them.
I've got this.
We had a doctor in Egypt. When you've got nothing, he must give you a prescription.
If you've got-
Even aspirin, he must give you something.
Yeah.
He's not going to do anything. If the guy will have a prescription, he did not solve the problem.
Placebo.
Yeah, and if I give them just aspirin from the first tablets, they'll be fine. Because they've got nothing anyway. He gave me a prescription, and that's true. I think, not our generation, but we're too old for that. We suck it up. Our kids are not suck it up. We all suck it up. They don't. When you look at our kids, that's the ones going to have the problem. You don't, you don't, I don't. We just suck it up and keep going. My son, if he walks from the house to the bloody petrol station or the bus, man, it was a mountain. Oh my God. I went to the bus station walking. That's the entitlement, as you said. We spoil them. We do not let them go through hardships. And this is the mistake we do.
Well, the thing is that the hardships has kind of changed context. Whereas previously you'd go out and you'd hunt, you'd make your food and everything, and there'd be
big beast.
there'd be beast, and you'd have to keep.
That's something to be anxious about.
You'd have to keep your, be on guard for potential, animal predators and alike. Whereas now, that same fear response is still being elicited, but it's been elicited by overstimulation of, these things here.
Right in my face right now.
Computer, social media.
Games.
Right? And also, because we have so many different resources available to us, we're really quite blessed to be living in this day and age that we just want to do everything. Yeah, we want to do everything. When there was no electricity, it's like, well, it's getting dark, so we're going to bed. Whereas now, it's like, oh no, I still need to do 3 hours more work, and maybe I'll Skype that colleague or friend overseas, or...
And now you need a psychotherapist to get to sleep at night.
Yeah.
I heard there was a correlation between the safer and wealthier a civilization is, the higher the suicide rate. Which sounds weird, but it was meant to be with hope that when everything's done, there's nothing to hope towards.
Yeah, that's right.
Because having the rewards isn't as good as dangling the rewards.
Because the outside experience that we're having has little to do with our internal, as Monica was saying, the way that we process things. Whether you're going through something very stressful like a divorce or a death, and then you move through and you pass that, and then everything is settled, you actually often go back and link to what your emotion was in the flavour of the house that you grew up in. Because that's how you emotionally processed everything in the early stages. So you actually seek and look for like experiences that match that. We spoke about that a few days ago.
You'll default to childhood, to childhood experiences, or you'll default to how your parents used to cope with adversity.
Yeah.
So just to put things in context, we all experience some sort of anxiety and nervousness in some respect. Yeah, where it becomes a problem is that when it actually prevents you from doing things, when it prevents you from going to work, when it prevents you from engaging socially.
But you can go to work.
Yeah, when it prevents you from from being you. Where it's crippling in some area of your life, and so if when you're working with your clients, you see anyone that does need help, obviously I'm more than happy to share resources and expertise and knowledge on that area of anxiety if you want to know any more. And likewise, I'll be available after here if you want to have another chat. So thank you so much for listening and for having me.
Thank you, Monica.
Do we have any questions for Monica before we move on?
Yes, just in a nutshell, Monica, what would be the single most important door or window into your business? What's a very typical entry-level conversation where a client comes to you and they become a sweet spot client for you? What does that look like?
Well, so for me, I do work with people who experience that anxiety on a day-to-day level. So keeping in mind that people do a lot of things to alleviate anxiety as well. They might eat too much.
They might drink too much, but no judgment.
They might drink too much. They might eat too much. Yeah. They might feel like they're just a bit out of control and always.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Their energy might be like through the roof. And so I help them, not only address the addiction perhaps side of things or what they're using to self-medicate, but then also just to get to actually the source of the problem.
So through one-to-one sessions, is it online, offline? What's the best way that...
Best way is to either email or just to call me personally, and I'm more than happy to talk to anyone on the phone. And I also, provide a free consultation as well to make sure that, we're a right fit for each other too. So, I want to make sure that everyone's really happy to be working with me, and that I'm the right person for them. So,
Thank you, Dominic. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Monica.
Thanks, guys, for watching.
We're going to